Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
My family and I live in Boston. I, 26 female, got married a year ago to my husband, 29. Both of our families live here, and we were both born here. My husband and I were schoolmates in high school, but we never really spoke. He was a late bloomer, and I was a popular chick. I'll admit, I noticed him a few times, but you wouldn't really consider him my type. We met again when we were both had graduated from college. He had cleaned up quite nicely, and he wasn't that shy dude anymore. I was super attracted to him the first time we met again, and I wasn't one to hide it if I thought you were attractive. If I liked you, you would know. We started dating 3 months later, and it was my best relationship ever. Well, you can tell because we ended up getting married. My husband's family members are sweet, though they have their annoying moments, but it was nothing I couldn't handle until recently. He has a kid sister who adores him. She is his only sibling, so they are very close to each other. His sister is 17 years old and seems to have this liking for pranking him because my husband seems to always fall for the pranks, which excites her. I sometimes think that he's pretending just to make her happy because some of the pranks are ridiculous and even I wouldn't fall for it. However, it is always funny to watch, so I indulge them. There were times where it was okay to prank him, and other times it seemed really unnecessary. The pranks started getting more and more frequent, and she would go above and beyond to make sure that she did. We were a very welcoming couple, so our family members were comfortable coming to our home. The only boundary we set with our relatives and friends was that if it was late or they were going to sleep over at our place, they had to inform us beforehand. One Sunday afternoon, while I was in the kitchen, my sister-in-law came to the house. It so happened that I glanced at the camera at that time and saw her come in. She was usually bubbly, and if she was around, everyone would know it. So it was a surprise to see that she didn't announce herself. In fact, I seemed like she was trying to be as quiet as possible, so I figured that she came to prank someone, and this time I was going to be pranking the prankster. She didn't know that I saw her, which was just perfect. My husband had no idea that someone was in the house. She went into our closet, and my guess was that she wanted to stay there to scare my husband whenever he came into the room. I locked the closet door and locked the room as well so that no one would hear her cry for help. After about 2 hours, I went and opened the door for her and told her that I pranked the prankster. I thought it would be all jokes like normal, but she wasn't having it. I told her, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. She started screaming at me for locking her in the room. She said that she didn't have her phone and was getting anxious, so she couldn't call anyone, which made her scared. She was angry at me for putting her through a traumatic experience because I had no right to do that. I didn't think it was a big deal because our closet wasn't small, so it's not like I left her in the place without air. I didn't know that she wasn't with her phone, though, but it wouldn't be the first time that she wasn't with her phone for 2 hours. I didn't get what the fuss was all about, because what I did to her is something that she can do as well. I apologized, since she didn't like it, but she ignored me and walked away to look for my husband. She was crying at this time, I guess for dramatic effect, so my husband would feel really bad for her. I heard her complaining to him and saying how she was anxious there and almost had a panic attack, and how it was the worst experience of her life and she doesn't wish it on anyone else. I was so disgusted hearing all that she was saying. My husband bought it and came and confronted me about it. It was honestly surprising for me. Like, why are we having this conversation? It was just a prank, for which she had done worse things and gotten away with it. Later that evening, her mom and cousin called me and said all sorts of things to me. She said that she would blame me because I didn't have kids of my own. That hurt me, so I respectfully asked them to stop speaking to me like that. My sister-in-law later said that she wanted monetary compensation for what I did to her. That was the funniest thing I had heard all year. Of course I declined. More like I ignored her, actually. If she wanted ice cream or chocolate as compensation, I would understand. But she wanted me to pay her for damages. What damages exactly? She seemed to have brainwashed everyone because they were all with her on her side. She said she was going to sue me if I didn't comply because she almost died in there. The next day, it was still a topic, and she wasn't joking about suing me. More and more people were calling me to say how horrible I was for what I did to my sister-in-law. I couldn't believe that my husband especially was letting this happen, so I started to wonder if what I did was really wrong, since everyone was against me. I asked her what compensation she wanted, and she asked for at least $2,000. I laughed so hard. Was this a joke? Really? There were so many other things to do with $2,000 than spend it on some entitled teenager. Later that evening, my husband told me that they were already making plans to sue me because I almost killed his sister, and if I didn't want to go to court, then I should pay what sister-in-law is asking for. I spoke to some of my friends, and we couldn't seem to come to a conclusion. Some of them were with my husband and his family, and others thought it was a way to extort my money. I went to mother-in-law's house to speak to them about what happened in there while she was locked. Sister-in-law said she had an anxiety attack, and she couldn't breathe and it felt like she was going to die. I apologized for what I did and asked if we could handle it like family, but she refused and said the only way we could handle it as family, instead of in the courtroom, is if I gave her the $2,000 as compensation, and nothing was going to change her mind. She said that if I came to the house to try to persuade her to not take any actions against me at all, then I would have wasted my time. Truthfully, I had $2,000 that I could give to her, but I was saving it up for something that was really important to my husband and I. He didn't know I was doing that because I wanted to surprise him with it for our anniversary next month. I decided that since my husband wouldn't even protect me from his family, then there was no need trying to save up the money. I sent the money to her, and that was it. Our relationship would not be the same again. I honestly didn't mean any harm by locking her in the closet, though she has done worse things. I don't think our relationship as a family would go back to the way it was. I haven't really spoken to my husband since the incident, except about how unhappy he was with me for doing what I did to his sister, and how they were serious about suing me if I didn't comply. My husband and I haven't made up since the incident. I feel weird. I don't think I can speak to him the way we used to anymore. I don't feel safe around him, and I don't think that he would have my back if anything came up. I am questioning my trust for him. He has tried to reach out to me by making silly jokes to make me smile and lighten the atmosphere, but there is nothing happy about our atmosphere. He encouraged his family to do whatever they wanted with me, and even supported me paying the complete $2,000 that his sister asked for. What did a 17-year-old need that for? I wouldn't be surprised if one of the adults around her made her ask for that much money. I have let the money go, but it has left me questioning my marriage. My relationship with my husband's family hasn't been the same. No one has come to visit us, and I refuse to go to any of their houses either. I wonder if they thought about how this would have impacted our relationship. They probably did, but cared more about the money. I've been thinking about what the next step for me is. I accepted that maybe I was the AH for letting her stay there for 2 hours. I guess part of me wanted to teach her a lesson, as well all the crazy pranks that she pulled over the months. I could have let her stay for less than 20 minutes, but I stretched it to 2 hours. But it still baffles me the way the whole family came at me like I was a stranger. I thought we were all family and we treated each other as family. As far as I was concerned, they didn't treat me like family. A lot of them said very mean things to me, and the worst were comments about me not having my own children, so I couldn't understand. I cried a lot during those times, and my husband wasn't there for me. I felt like an outcast, so I guess the decision I have to make is whether to remain an outcast or forgive them. YTA, how could you lock anyone in a place for 2 hours? You went too far, even if you wanted to teach her a lesson. NTA, she couldn't take what she was dishing out. If she always pranked people, then she should have been able to take a prank as well, no matter how it affected her. NTA, your husband is not worth it. Even if you made a mistake, he was supposed to shield you from his family and not join them to pressure you.
Next story.
I, 32 female, grew up in an abusive household. I don't know if I can call it abuse. It was more subtle. They would always comment about my appearance and my intelligence, praising my brother at my expense. My father even said that I was unplanned and they would have been better off without me in a fit of a rag. It was repeated so often that it all seemed true. I had stopped talking to everyone. It was so bad that a new girl in class thought I was mute for almost 2 months. But I still question if I was to blame for my own condition. I, fortunately, had this amazing senior in school. She helped me through all of this, kept my self-esteem alive, helped me move out. I went to NC with my parents. Had talked to my mother almost 4 years ago. Don't even remember when I had last talked to my dad, but they contacted me 3 months ago. Everyone apologized and made me understand how there were just loads of misunderstandings between us. They said they are proud of me. I always wanted that validation, so I ate it all up. It was cathartic. It made me cry. They invited me to my brother's wedding, and I was elated. Why even marry when you are in debt? I was in a different town, but my mom invited me a week before the wedding. Saw that house again after more than a decade. Nostalgia was running through my blood. Everyone was nice. My perceptions were about to change when on the second day of my visit, my mom told me that my brother is in crippling debt and they need my help. I just snapped at that moment, like F off. All this drama was going on just to get some money out of me. Why even marry someone when you are in debt? I shouted at my mom, cursed her, and left the house immediately. Maybe I did overreact, but it was the culmination of all the pent-up emotions that I had tried to suppress over the years, and now all of them have started blaming me. They think I don't understand how family works. I am gross for thinking they would do all this for money. I made his wedding about me and similar shit. AITA? Thank you to all of you for all the love and support. I can't express how much it matters to me. I have booked a therapy session. NTA, the timing of this reunion was not a coincidence. It was a move to get money out of you because of your family. You do not owe these people anything, and it is the responsibility of the people getting married to pay for their wedding unless someone offers, which you did not do and are under no obligation to do just because you were offspring of the same parental units as your brother. You are saying that all this reconciliation show was only to get you to give your brother money to lower his debt? Even if you had a tattoo on your butt that said ATM in large letters? This is some low-level stuff. Seriously? If you had that kind of money, I cannot believe they had any way to figure that out other than make decisions based on your lifestyle. NTA.
Next story.
I have been vegan since I was 22. My partner, who I have been with for 4 years, became vegan when we met. Largely because I enjoy cooking, but also because it means a lot to me to share this value with a partner. IDGAF, about friends, family, not being vegan, and not pushing it on people. But I was very open about not being comfortable with cooking meat and dairy in my own house, especially if we moved together. He totally accepted it and had previously been pescatarian for a few years, so didn't mind at all. FYI, this was a conversation we had before he even asked me out. It was my birthday last week. I'm not super close to my family, but my boyfriend is very close to his, and they've always been kind to me the times I've seen them. They wanted to throw me one of their traditional family birthday parties, which was really lovely of them, so I accepted. As we don't live too close, this meant a trip out to town, about 5 hours, and staying over. Now, in the past, when we have stayed, we've brought our own food with us, and I've cooked the things I've been fine with. I don't expect people to accommodate me, and this is something I will usually do if I expect to be hungry. My friends will still ensure they have some options if I'm around, even just accidentally vegan snacks. And my family have always been careful to get me food that suits me. It's really kind of them to always think of me. This being said, I am the same. I have a friend with a wheat allergy, and I always make sure I buy wheat-free options where needed if they're coming to my house, because I invited them and it's polite to accommodate a guest. This time, my mother-in-law said she would take care of everything, and I was happy to let her. Maybe it was stupid. AITA? But I assumed that as it was my birthday party, she was organizing, she would have something I could eat there. But there wasn't a single thing on the table that I could eat. She made me a birthday cake, which was lovely and thoughtful, but I couldn't eat it. I didn't expect everything to be vegan at all, but almost everyone can eat vegan food, so it wouldn't be as if my food would be separate from theirs. Theirs would be separate from mine. But all the food there was stuff only they could eat. I was super confused and upset because my reasons had become moral over time, but started as a digestive health thing, and my parents' family couldn't even bring one dish I could eat to the birthday party they insisted on throwing. As we were staying in the same house, I found a moment to excuse myself and ordered some food from a local store and sat upstairs eating it. Here's where I might be the a-hole. My partner came to find me upstairs to blow up my candles and cut the cake, but I refused. I can't eat it, so how is it my cake? And remained upstairs for a while with my takeaway. I did eventually go back down and try to join in, but the food situation soured the whole thing for me. My partner said at the time that I was rude and spoiled, and has said so since, which makes me wonder if I am. Am I the a-hole? NTA, but they are big time. If you really want to throw a party for someone to celebrate them, you make sure they are happy about it by finding out what they like. Otherwise, it's not at all about them. They did nothing for you. A party without food you can eat isn't a party for you, but you were an excuse to party among themselves. A party that was really for you would not just have something you could eat. It would have your favorite foods first and foremost, and something in addition for the rest. When I threw a party for a good vegan friend, I even learned to make a vegan burger and vegan cake from scratch to make them happy. That's what you do if you really love someone and really want to do something for them. If you don't even care enough to provide any food at all, how much do you really care about them?